We've been talking about Cavendish, what's going to happen, Cavendish Boulevard, on and over for more years than I can count. This used to be a serious issue whenever we had Valerie Plante on the show, right? To the point where I got her a T-shirt that says, "I'm doing Cavendish for sure." No, it won't be in this administration. The question now is, will it happen going forward? Yesterday, Soraya Martinez-Ferrada, leader of Ensemble Montréal, and a Montreal mayoral candidate, of course, held a press conference down at the Hippodrome site. And I think for the first time, and Soraya, to be fair, when I heard about this going to the BAP, so this is for an environmental review, I thought, is this just kicking the ball down the road a little farther? And I didn't fully understand. The BAP has never been presented with a plan for Cavendish being open both ways, or has it?
Exactly.
So what happens now? You have a plan that would, in fact, and you've said this from the get-go, open Cavendish in both directions, so to Saint Laurent on one side and all the way through Côte Saint-Luc on the other. What has to happen next? What's your plan going forward?
Well, we have to make sure that we start with the studies and launch of the process at the Bureau d'Audience Publique, the BAP. That's the first step in any big project like this one, because it will give us the criteria and how do we make it right. So that's the first step. After that, the project can have to be carried out in phases. As you know, this is a big budget. It was in the project was in the books of Montreal. They took it out without any plans or estimates. So it has to be a process of, we need to have the real estimates, we need to have the real options, and a BAP is the first step to do that. Now, actually, Projet Montréal should have done that for a long time. Well, they should have not done that.
I'm trying to understand, because it says here the city at the time notified the BAP in 2022 about its plan for Cavendish, and the BAP said that the project then posed major technical and environmental challenges, particularly related to the presence of groundwater, railroad tracks, and electrical pylons. That's what they're saying at Projet.
Well, they didn't present the whole project, and the BAP did not do a full study. The BAP will never tell you that it's not possible to do. It will tell you what possible routes you can take and what are the requirements for you to do it. So it's very different. So the city just didn't fully present the project, and we didn't fully do the study with the BAP. So they're trying to spin, again, a very misinformation in terms of what they have done, and really they haven't done it the right way.
So the rationale, to be fair, that you're presenting here as to why this should be done is what? Because it's not simply about making the road open. It's about whatever development happens to be coming to the Hippodrome, right? And you feel this is necessary, otherwise it doesn't make sense?
Exactly, because as you know, Hippodrome, when Quebec gave this as a gift to Montreal, this happened in 2017, it became with some requirements. One of them was to have 3 exits. We need to make sure that the Hippodrome has exits. We don't want to isolate a new community. As you know, we can be up to 20,000 units. And you have talked about this many times. Can you imagine just the corner of Jean Talon and Descaries, what it would look like if we don't have an opening in Cavendish? So we need to make sure that we're not isolating this area, but actually using it as an opportunity to make the investments necessary to open up the whole sector to all other areas of Hippodrome.
I heard someone say the other day, about the idea. So obviously, Alain de Souza in Saint Laurent supports the idea. We know that. Is there an issue with Côte Saint-Luc? Someone brought this up the other day, saying no, there's not. They're not fully on board, which seemed to me to be exactly the opposite of what they'd said. They want this now to go through.
Well, I think at the end of the day, they want to make sure that, as you know, this is a regional cost, because this would be supported not only by the city, but by the agglomeration. So we have to make sure that everybody's on board. But I think at the end of the day, they will be on board. I mean, they have been asking for this for a long time. And having the extensions from Saint Laurent to Côte Saint-Luc opens up a connection to Côte Saint-Luc and all the area of the west part of the area, which at the end of the day is just good investments.
They just don't want it to be a highway, which is obviously not the plan, I guess, right?
No, I mean, the idea I have is a real plan of mobility, that we have the chance to construct something that it's in the sense of the 21st century transportation, pedestrian, cars, bicycles, transportation, and I think we have to make it work for all types of transportation, which, cities should have been built like that for many years. Now we have the chance to do it in this area and, be an example of what a city should look like. But this would be a city within the city.
By the way, to that plan, I'm old enough to remember when Blue Bonnets used to be on that site. And then, of course, it's been sitting empty for so long. You know, you're right. We've had it since 2017. The promise has been we're going to do something. Nothing has been done. Mm-hmm. What's your plan beyond Cavendish? I mean, this development on that giant tract of land, what's the Ensemble Montréal plan to do there to develop it?
Well, again, I mean, Projet Montréal waited so long to do anything that it took the nonprofit organizations through Centraide, which Claude Pinard was at the end, was at the head of that, with the private sector, to create what we call Gallup. That is the project that now the City of Montreal is supporting. So the leadership of developing that site didn't come from the city. It became from the nonprofit organizations and the private sector. And now Claude Pinard, as you know, is running with me. So we are committed to making sure that we're not only building the homes that we need in that area, having a social and affordable construction that we need, but also making sure that we are addressing the mobility that goes through Open and Cavendish.
So the question that comes up repeatedly, Soraya, is this is a big project. It's going to cost a lot of money. Where's that money coming from?
Well, right now, we don't know how much money is going to cost. We know that it's a big investment. But you know what? Infrastructure is an investment when you want to have a city that's developed in an intelligent way. So we have to see it as an investment, eventually having, you know, companies coming and supporting and investment. So I see it more as a leverage in terms of what we can do with the area. And the cost, I think, at the end of the day, when you put it onto 20, 30, 40 years, it's an investment and not a cost. So we'll see what happens in terms of the cost of when we do the study with the BAP, but we're committed to do that and making sure that we have a project that's going to be good for Montreal and for the whole area.
There's also the question of Projet's plan for that whole Namur Hippodrome area, which involves expropriating some businesses and putting up some other towers. There's an issue with that as well. Are you planning to carry through with that plan that they had?
Which plan?
For that outside of just the Hippodrome site, they wanted to extend this down to Jean Talon. They wanted to put a tramway on Jean Talon as well. What's your plan?
Well, I mean, we have to be careful. I was down there just this couple of days ago, meeting with people at the Triangle, and I mean, they bought a lot of buildings there and units of condos with the promise of having green spaces, and so we just have to make sure that we're following through the commitments that the citizens have had in the past, and making sure that we're respecting not only the area of Hippodrome, but the whole area after on the other side of the Carré going through Jean Talon, and making sure that we're listening to Montrealers right now that are looking for, you know, green spaces, maybe some sports venues, sports cultural centers. Right. I mean, there's so many other things that area needs, that we need to make sure that we're listening to everybody, making sure that we're respecting the engagement that the Montreal had before.
Last question I have for you on that Hippodrome site. Obviously, the Royalmount development, which takes up a large part of that to the, as you continue sort of, I guess, north. Have you spoken to Andrew Lutfi for Royalmount about, possible co-developments or anything like that?
I know that I've seen him going through the media. I mean, he's been very critical around how the city can support the business centers to make sure that we can stay here. I think there's also ideas of construction for units of housing in that area. I think the whole area has to be a part of, again, can we sit down and talk to each other, making sure that we're collaborating and just making sure that our plans fit, right? Whatever he thinks of doing in Royalmount in terms of housing has to fit with the whole area, because that will also put pressure on transportation, on public transportation, and the infrastructure that we need to support whatever's coming.
Fair enough. Soraya, appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Aaron.
You too. Soraya Martinez-Ferrada. There you go. A plan for Cavendish. Finally, going to the BAP. Maybe there's some good news coming.
The newest tracks. Let's go. New music. And the next big thing.
Always on the new music first.
Your first place to hear it all.
'Cause you gon' like it, love it, wanna play it twice. Playing now.
iHeart New Music. Your digital station for brand new drops, fresh finds, and tomorrow's bangers.
I think we need something new.
Discover iHeart New Music. Always fresh, always first. Stream now on the free iHeartRadio app.